Hi, this is Mike Moo. I am the Director of HIPAA Security here at HIPAA Watchdog and E2O Health. This is the accompanying portion of the video portion of my HIPAA Watchdog passwords slideshow presentation that I produced back in February of 2015. I see to date there have been about 1,089 views on it. Hopefully this message gets across to everybody out there. So we all know about passwords, and we know that it's important to change your passwords or update your passwords, but a lot of us don't actually do it. I think that we have a false sense of security in terms of how secure we are with our information. Now, over at HIPAA Watchdog, we take care of HIPAA compliance, and we try to protect and safeguard private personal records, private health records, private health information. It's one of the more valuable pieces of information out there, that if you lost your private health information, then you can pretty much lose your identity to some other person or organization anywhere in the world. Now, to bring home the point of that we live in a different world, I usually like to point out this one website that sets up computers out there that detect attacks throughout all regions of the world. And this is map.ipviking.com. And as you can see, I just started it right now. So just started reporting all the attacks and hacks that are attempts that are being done all around the world right now, where Norse Securities actually has computer systems that detect these attacks. So you can see they're all over the place. A good majority of them actually originate from China. So if you go ahead and check out the website, feel free to run this in the background, and you kind of have some sort of idea of all of the cyber warfare that's actually going on every millisecond of our days and lives. Okay, so let's get back onto the passwords. All right, so there's really a few key main things in my presentation. And just to be clear, right now it's June. I haven't updated this slideshow in a while because Flovella, the company that I used to produce these slideshows, I went back and changed the terms of service agreements, and now they require some sort of premium, which I'm not willing to pay, and very disappointed with them. So I will be going back to PowerPoint presentations in the future password updates. So what you see here are the passwords by popularity. This was taken, I believe, the reference materials of this are actually in the original PowerPoint slide deck. But if you actually Google for this, you'll probably find it. I think it was on some sort of Wikipedia article where they actually pulled together all the popular passwords used, I believe, in the world, and these are the most popular passwords. So if your password is on here, I highly recommend changing it. If it looks something similar to anything on this list, I would definitely change it immediately and never use it again. So you can see by far the most popular passwords are password 123456, 12345678, 1234, any number of those combinations of this. And these are passwords used to protect anything right out there. And I'm not kidding. One of the major organizations here in Los Angeles County has their public Wi-Fi password as 123456789 or 0123456789. And that's just inviting attacks. You don't want to use anything like this. So here's what passwords are now that I see in healthcare. They're typically 4 to 8 characters long, and they typically require an uppercase and lowercase, which is good now. That's actually quite a bit of an improvement over just, let's say, over the past couple of years ago. And the biggest problem that I see is that they're reused everywhere and used in more than one location, one website. They're probably used in multiple logins just to get into the EHR, where a lot of this important information is stored. So for instance, the login password for their computer might be this, and then they use that same exact password to get into their EHR. and they use the same exact password again to any of their other systems. Now, why is that really a bad idea? Well, because if your password is compromised, and let's face it, if it's kind of a weak password, now someone has the keys to the kingdom, meaning everything. Okay, and through that information, then they can get access to everything else that's within those systems. That's how some of these major hacks have happened. So this is the #1 slide that I recommend. And if you're not going to watch the rest of the presentation, just remember these key things. And these are what I recommend as minimum requirements. Okay, so make your passwords at least 8 characters long. All right, I recommend 12 to 13 or more right now. That's personally what I use, is at least 12. I have some range of all the way up to 30 characters, and you know it's really not that hard. If you're typing a whole sentence paragraph with a bunch of key different characters, it's really not that hard. And you know, I use a password manager, so we'll go over some of that later on in this presentation. But use uppercase characters and lowercase characters and special characters. Now, special characters could be anything as simple as a punctuation mark, or special ANSI key combinations if you want it ultra secure, because that's going to make it almost impossible to hack. Okay, but special characters, simple enough. If you're not an advanced person, use the special characters, punctuation marks, @ signs, the pound sign, asterisks, any other hyphenation that you can find in a regular 101 keyboard. If you want to go a little bit more advanced, then you could do ANSI characters. And you know, there's different combinations you can do with the Alt key and the numerical keypad that can come out. All right, and then put in the numbers. Okay, and then very importantly, you don't use it anywhere else, and you never share the password with anyone ever, and you never reuse the password. Okay. If you really sit down and think about it, you'll understand why that's the case. Now, if you don't understand any of this, then maybe you should watch the rest of the presentation. Feel free to send me an email or send me a tweet, and I'd be happy to explain why. But if you just look at the number of hacks that have happened over this past year, or just the past couple of years, you'll see why. A lot of these hacks actually happen, and because so much data is compromised, it actually takes them a while to filter, sort through, or to use the computers to decide what to hack. So it could be your password could already be out there, right? But it's just that it's taken them a little while to actually get around to it to try to use to hack your bank accounts, for instance. So, you know, your password may have been compromised a couple months ago, or if you use LastPass, for instance, it might have been compromised, you know, 2-3 weeks ago, but they didn't really get around to actually trying to hack it and use it, and decipher all this stuff with whatever information that they have from multiple sources, for instance, to actually go in and use it. So if you make it a policy to change your most important accounts every 30 days, then basically if they haven't got around to your account 30 days, you're good. So this is a very important question to ask. So in healthcare, if your password's 4 to 8 characters long, how long does it take to hack? Well, if it's all lowercase only, which is because that's the way things used to be, with a Intel $250 Intel Core i7 processor, you can roughly do it in 1.5 days. Okay, so it doesn't really take that long. But if you include uppercase, lowercase, and special characters, the same $250 processor could take 1.5 centuries. You can see that actually creates quite a bit more combinations that a supercomputer would have. I mean, not a supercomputer, but a good desktop computer, modern desktop computer, would be used to hack. So if you use all that, it would actually only take 60 days on a supercomputer. Okay, and we're talking about a couple years old supercomputer. Now, my understanding is that with the LastPass hack over the past 2 weeks, if you have $100,000 worth of equipment, which is really not that hard for these hackers that send out